For a decade, he was the face of American optimism. He was the boy who could outrun time in a DeLorean. He was the kid who could charm his way out of any crisis on Family Ties. He was a golden boy who had the world at his feet. Michael J. Fox wasn't just a movie star. He was a promise that if you were smart, fast, and charming enough, you could win forever. But today, in late 2025, the boy who conquered time is finally facing a clock he cannot stop, and the silence coming from his world is deafening. At 64 years old, Michael J. Fox is preparing for the end. But this isn't the inspirational story you think you know. This isn't just about a brave fight against Parkinson's. This is a darker story. A story about a man who looked at the Hollywood machine, the industry that built him, the friends who used him, and the fame that nearly destroyed him, and decided to finally shut the door. Reports have recently surfaced that Michael is meticulously planning his final farewell, and the details are shattering the image of the nice guy. Unlike the star-studded funerals of other legends, where agents make deals in the pews and fake tears flow for the cameras, Michael has reportedly drawn a jagged line in the sand. He has a list of the few who are welcome to say goodbye, and a shock band list of Hollywood elites who he reportedly wants nowhere near his grave. Why? Why would the most beloved man in Hollywood suddenly turn his back on his peers? Why has he decided to ban a back to the future legend? Why is he closing the door on George Clooney? And what is the heartbreaking reason he refuses to let Johnny Depp pay his respects? To understand this final act of defiance, we have to peel back the layers of a life that was never as perfect as it looked. We have to go back to the 7 years of lies, the alcohol that nearly drowned him, and the brutal realization that when the applause stops, the silence can kill you. The golden boy is gone. This is the story of the man who survived the wreckage. To understand the anger behind the ban list, you first have to understand the lie that created it. The 1980s in Hollywood wasn't just a golden age. It was a golden cage. And Michael J. Fox was its most prized prisoner. Born in Edmonton, Canada, he arrived in Los Angeles with nothing but a guitar, a few dollars, and a desperation to be seen. He lived on boxes of mac and cheese, selling sections of his couch just to buy groceries. But when Family Ties hit the airwaves in 1982, poverty turned into mania overnight. He became the franchise. By 1985, he was untouchable. He was shooting Family Ties by day and Back to the Future by night. He was sleeping 2 hours a day. He was running on adrenaline, caffeine, and the terrifying pressure of being an entire industry's cash cow. The studios loved him. The agents worshipped him. Everyone wanted a piece of Michael J. Fox. He bought the Ferraris. He bought the sprawling mansions in the hills. He dated the most beautiful women in the world. To the outsider, he was living the ultimate dream. But inside those empty halls, the silence was already creeping in. Michael later admitted that during this peak, he felt like an imposter. He was terrified that if he stopped running, even for a second, the world would realize he was just a kid from Canada who got lucky. The industry fed his ego, but starved his soul. They told him he was a god, while working him like a mule. But look closer at the footage from those years. Look past the smile. You see a man who is exhausted, a man who is being consumed. He was surrounded by people who said yes to everything he did, but who knew nothing about who he really was. He was a commodity, an asset, a face on a lunchbox. In recent, more candid interviews, Michael has hinted at the crushing loneliness of that era. "You have 1,000 friends when you're number one at the box office," he once said quietly, "but you can't hear any of them over the noise." This was the era that introduced him to the very people he is now reportedly distancing himself from, the fair-weather friends. The co-stars who smiled for the photo op but competed for the paycheck. The producers who pushed him until he collapsed, only to ask for one more take. He learned early on that in Hollywood, loyalty is a contract, and contracts expire the moment you stop making money. But the real tragedy wasn't the fame. It was what happened on a seemingly normal morning in Florida in 1991. He was 29 years old. He was filming Doc Hollywood. He woke up with a hangover, the sunlight piercing through the curtains. He looked at his left hand, and his pinky finger was twitching. just a flutter, like a moth trapped under his skin. He thought it was a nerve. He thought it was stress. He thought it was the alcohol. He didn't know it was the first signal that his life was over. The diagnosis was Parkinson's disease. Young onset. Doctors told him he had 10 years left to work. Maybe less. Imagine being the biggest star in the world, standing on top of a mountain, and being told you are about to fall off a cliff. Michael's reaction wasn't bravery. Not at first. It was terror, and then it was a masquerade. For 7 long years, from 1991 to 1998, Michael J. Fox lived a lie. He didn't tell the public. He didn't tell the studios. He became a master of deception. He hid his shaking hand in his pockets during scenes. He held props, a clipboard, a cup, a pen, in his left hand to mask the tremors. He took pills to calm his body, pills that made his face mask-like and rigid, stealing his ability to express emotion. And behind closed doors, the nice guy began to self-destruct. This is a part of the story the magazines don't like to tell. Michael didn't just accept his fate gracefully. He tried to drown it. He turned to alcohol, heavy alcohol. It wasn't just a glass of wine at dinner. It was vodka in the morning coffee. It was beer to numb the shaking before a scene. It was whiskey at night to knock himself out because the anxiety wouldn't let him sleep. He was trying to escape a body that was betraying him. He was trying to numb the terror of losing his future. There were nights when he wouldn't come home. Nights when he would hide bottles in the garage so Tracy wouldn't find them. He was no longer the hero. He was a man falling apart, piece by piece, while the world still applauded his image. He became, in his own words, impossible to be around. He isolated himself from his wife, from his family, locking himself in a prison of his own making. And this is where the ban list begins to make sense. During these dark years, Michael saw the true face of the industry. He saw how people gossiped when he slurred his words at parties, assuming he was just another drunk celebrity. He saw how close friends distanced themselves when he wasn't the life of the party anymore. He realized that the Hollywood machine didn't care about his pain. It only cared about a performance. If he couldn't perform, he was useless. And this is exactly why we respect him today. Because he survived the fake smiles and the plastic loyalty. Here at the Seventh Lens, we believe that a true legend isn't defined by their box office numbers, but by their character in the face of hell. If you are tired of modern celebrities who care more about their image than their soul, join our community. Hit that subscribe button right now. Let's keep the memory of the real heroes alive. By 1998, he couldn't hide it anymore. The tremors were too violent. The pills weren't working. He came out to the world. And while the public embraced him with tears, the industry quietly took a step back. The leading roles dried up. The phone stopped ringing. The A-list invites disappeared. Michael J. Fox had moved from asset to liability, and he never forgot who stayed, and he certainly never forgot who left. Now, at 64, as he finalizes his affairs, Michael is reportedly filtering his life down to the bone. According to insiders, his funeral wishes are strict. No cameras, no press, and absolutely no Hollywood fakeness. In Los Angeles, funerals are rarely about mourning. They are networking events. They are opportunities for agents to whisper about new deals in back row while pretending to wipe away a tear. Michael knows this game. He played it for 40 years. And he refuses to let his final moment become another scene in someone else's movie. He wants purity. He wants truth. This has led to the rumors of the banned list. While Michael has never publicly shamed these people, sources close to him suggest that certain figures represent the very energy he wants to avoid in his final moments. Take Leah Thompson, the woman who played his mother in Back to the Future. To the fans, they're a package deal, a symbol of nostalgia. But reality is rarely like the movies. Over the decades, they have drifted into different universes. Reports suggest that for Michael, their relationship is a reminder of a time when he was Marty McFly, a character, not a human being. He doesn't want his funeral to be a fan convention. He doesn't want people mourning a movie character. He wants them mourning the man who suffered. If the connection isn't deep, if it didn't survive the dark years, there is no seat at the table. Then there are the whispers about George Clooney. Clooney is the king of Hollywood charm. He is magnetic. He is loud. He is the ultimate star. But Michael, in his later years, has sought quiet. He has sought spiritual peace. Insiders claim that Michael finds the superstar energy exhausting. A funeral with George Clooney becomes a media circus. It becomes about who is wearing what and who is shaking George's hand. Michael wants to protect his family from that spectacle. He wants his exit to be as humble as his beginnings. He wants silence, not charisma. And then, the most surprising name, Johnny Depp. Why would Michael ban Johnny? Because Johnny represents chaos. Michael has spent 30 years fighting for control over his own body. Every day is a battle for stability. Johnny Depp's life, the headlines, the lawsuits, the rock and roll lifestyle, is the opposite of stability. It's not about hate. It's about protecting the sanctity of the moment. Michael doesn't want the drama. He doesn't want the noise. He is essentially saying, if you weren't there when I was shaking on the floor, you don't get to be there when I'm lowered into ground. It is a harsh decision. Maybe did I es it a necessary one? Absolutely. So who makes the cut? If the stars are banned, who is left? The answer is the only part of this story that truly matters. In the center of the storm, there was one person who never flinched, Tracy Pollan. They met on Family Ties. She was a smart, tough New York actress who didn't care about his fame. He was the arrogant star who needed a reality check. When they married in 1988, the tabloids placed bets on how long it would last. They said Hollywood marriages have a shelf life of 5 years. Then came the diagnosis. Then came the alcohol. Michael tried to push her away. He told her, "You didn't sign up for this." He gave her an out. He expected her to leave, just like the agents, just like the fair weather friends. But Tracy looked at him and said 2 words that saved his life. "I'm in." She didn't just stay for the good days. She stayed for the vomit. She stayed for the depression. She stayed for the broken bones and the sleepless nights. She raised their 4 children, Sam, Aquina, Skylar, and Esme, in a house filled with love, shielding them from the tragedy of their father's condition. Michael recently said, "Tracy is the only person who truly knows me. Without her, I would have been dead 20 years ago." It's that simple. At his funeral, Michael doesn't want to look out and see a sea of famous faces hiding behind sunglasses. He wants to feel the presence of the woman who held his hand when the cameras were off. He wants his children to be surrounded by real love, not industry connections. The banned list isn't about cruelty. It is the ultimate act of love for Tracy. He is ensuring that her final moment with him is pure. Hollywood moves on. New stars rise. But loyalty like this is rare. If you believe that family matters more than fame, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. We are building a home for everyone who misses the golden age. You are welcome here. Michael J. Fox is 64 years old. His body is failing. His voice is quieting. But his spirit has never been louder. In a world obsessed with image, Michael J. Fox chose reality. In a town built on pretending, he chose honesty. And in an industry that fears death, he is facing it with his eyes wide open. His decision to curate his final farewell is his last great performance. He is taking back control. He is telling Hollywood, "You own my youth, you own my image, but you do not own my death." He is leaving this world the same way he entered it, as a fighter. We may not see the stars at his funeral. We may not see the headlines. But we will know that the man in that box is at peace. Good night, Michael, and thank you for everything.